If he'd known from the beginning what he knew now, Lance Gorry might have done things differently. When the late spring break began, Lance and his brother Aaron were innocent. They had to learn quickly, or they wouldn't survive. Lance had his recurring dream the night before his mum took him and Aaron to stay with Yaya, their maternal grandmother, at her cottage deep in Sherwood Forest. He'd had these dreams since his last birthday in March. At first they were okay, but a bit confusing. Then last night his dream had become more sinister. It always began with a boy about his own age, 14, with piercing green eyes and blonde hair scraped back in a ponytail. But there was something odd about him that meant he was not entirely human. Lance never felt threatened when the boy beckoned to him into his world, because he was always able to resist him. Except this time. This time was different. The urgency of the summons seemed desperate, and Lance's natural curiosity got the better of him. As Lance took a step towards him, the relief that registered on the boy's face suddenly changed to fear, directed at something over Lance's shoulder. Lance snapped round to see a dense black shadow rushing towards him. He instantly froze. As he was about to be enveloped by the thing, he felt the fear he had seen in the boy being reflected back into his own face. With a jolt, Lance woke up, choking. He began to shake. It was pitch black and deadly quiet. Still the middle of the night. Sitting bolt upright, he hugged his knees and began to rock. He knew he'd been dreaming, but it had felt so real, leaving him with a nasty feeling of dread. He reached for his half-read book on the bedside cabinet and settled back on the pillows with the hope that a good read would calm him down. It only seemed a few minutes before he heard his mother, Elizabeth. "Lance! Aaron! Time to get out of your pit. You don't want to be late on the last day of term." Half asleep, he realized it was morning. The light was still on, and his book had fallen onto the floor. Kicking away the duvet, he crawled out of bed and made his way to the bathroom, before his 12-year-old brother had a chance to hog it. After a quick shower, he knocked on Aaron's door. The only response was a grunt, par for the course. Back in his bedroom, Lance was starting to get dressed when he experienced a sudden flashback to last night's nightmare. It sent shivers down his spine. Then, from the bottom of the stairs, his mum broke his dark train of thought and raised his spirits again. "Breakfast ready!" Once they'd eaten, he took the stairs 2 at a time, racing Aaron back to the bathroom. He spat out the toothpaste and rinsed, then raised his head to inspect his face, making sure he hadn't left any white residue around his mouth. The mirror had steamed up, so he used the heel of his hand to circle a clear patch. "Holy crap!" he yelled, and sprang backwards, hitting the wall. His heart rate beat at double time as he held onto the towel rail for support. The face in the mirror wasn't his, not entirely. It was the boy in his nightmare extending his arm to make contact.